Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, July 27th. It's 6:20 right now. We have about 10 minutes until market open. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, then we can get started with our session for today. Just a couple more things here to update. Looks good. Couple more things here. All right, looks good. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right, looks good, guys. All right, so let's see who's here. Hey, Peter, morning. Morning, Kenny. Morning, B. Morning, Steven. Let me go ahead and mark up a couple of things here on the chart before we get started. So I'm going to mark up I am going to, oh, it's the wrong time frame. I'm going to mark up London Open so that we can be aware of where London opened at. All right, so London Open is right over here. As you guys can see from price right now, currently price has been ranging like, all morning. So I kind of want to see where London Open happened to see if price is going to come and correct back down. So you can see price is coming down right here. This is London Open. Price might come back down and test the London Open. We're going to have to go and like pretty much scan through to see where the bias and trend is sitting. But for the most part, this is going to be one of the key price points where price might come down and test if it does come down. So let me see who else is here. Morning, Janae. Morning, Kenneth. Morning, Marlon. Morning, Fahad. Morning, everybody. So it's 6:23 right now. Market's going to open in about 7 minutes. Today is Wednesday, July 27th. I'm going to go ahead and check out the news real quick to see if there's anything that I missed. And then we can go from there. So for today is Tuesday or Wednesday, July 27th. There was news at 5:30. It was quarterable goods, durable goods, goods trade, prelim wholesale inventories. We have news at 7:30. Penny home sales, crude oil inventories, and then we have the Fed statement today as well. With the federal funds rate. So there was news at 5:30. I'm going to mark that up first, just so that we have an idea as to where what might have made price kind of move weird like this. You can see right there, lots of rejections off that point. That was news. And then we have news coming up again at 7 and 7:30. 7, 7:30, and 11. So we got news coming up over here at 7, 7:30, and 11. This isn't really going to matter to us because, as you guys are aware, I'm only taking breakouts right now. So It's not a big deal. The news coming up, so but we'll see where it goes from there. This 7 o'clock might affect us depending on like where our breakout happens. Hopefully it happens sooner than that, but we'll just use that as a marker. See who else is here. Morning, Patricia. Morning, Maddie. Morning, everybody. So let's get started with analyzing the bias this morning. So taking a look at the retail sentiment. Retail sentiment is currently 55% short. So there's not very much of a strong bias with regards to retail sentiment, which is no surprise. I mean, it's been like this for the past couple of weeks now. It's summer, volatility is kind of low. It's not really pushing anywhere. So this is currently 55% short, indicating that 55% of retail traders are currently selling. So you want to do the opposite of them, but there's not enough sellers in the market yet for us to really have a strong bias. So this is going to be basically neutral. Again, probably no bias today, unfortunately. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently 172 points in the green. So this is going to indicate that price is slightly bullish. It's not very bullish, but it's slightly bullish. The reason for that is because this is the only factor that's really indicating bias right now, while the sentiment here is kind of just neutral. So it's going to be slightly bullish. We're going to put that over here as part of the, not really requirements for our checklist. So here's the breakout strategy. Here's the confluence list. Overall bias is slightly bullish. Looking at the current trend over here, trend is currently is slightly bullish as well. Reason why I say slightly bullish is because the trend meter is red down here. It's starting to shift to the sell side, and the pivots here are starting to shift as well. But however, the pivots are still green over red, so this is still bullish. That's why I'm putting slightly bullish. So overall, there's not really much of a bias here. I mean, the overall bias is slightly bullish. The trend is slightly bullish. If we were to look for a sell right here, high-low continuation is present. If we're looking for a buy here, there's no high-low continuation. So we're mostly looking for, I mean, it's going to be a bit tricky because if we do have a sell here, these two don't meet. High-low candle reverse. So there's a high over there with the red. Let's take a look at the 10. The higher there was with the green. So this isn't going to be present. And there's the target right there that I just mentioned, right? Target right there is a London Open. You can see where price is rejecting off. That's why I drew it there. Specific reason. Strategy confluence, basically a double body right there. So looking for a sell, there's only two confluences. Looking for a buy, there's no high low. There's no multi-candle reversal. Either way, I mean, both ways are going to be iffy. Buys are iffy, sells are iffy. Additional strategy confluence, not met. So either way, if you're looking for a buy, there's only two confluences. Looking for a sell, there's only two confluences. So this is going to be a bit tricky. What do you think, Maddie, from your analysis? It's tricky either way. So we'll have to see what happens. If this shifts into a bearish bias for the trend, then that's going to shift things. Then the sell is going to be okay. Matthew's expecting a breakout of today's Asia low, then we can probably see a nice buy with high volume. Yeah, no, definitely see that too. All right, guys, market's going to open shortly in about 20 seconds. But we'll just have to wait and see because, yeah, just like Maddie said and how I mentioned for my analysis here, the confluences don't really line up. So there's not very many confluences for us to look at. I mean, if the trend here shifts, we're just going to have to set this to neutral because there's no strong bias here. I mean, it was slightly bullish. Now it's bearish. and now it might go back to bullish. So it's pretty much neutral right now. Market is now open, guys. So the most recent momentum signal over here was a sell. So we're looking for a strong red candle for the breakout here. Or we're looking for a shift back to the upside. You got to keep in mind this candle here is huge, like literally huge. So if there is an entry here for a sell, you might want to wait for some retracement. We'll have to continue to analyze this a little further. But overall bias right now is slightly bullish. Let me take a look at the fundamentals right now. Yeah, they're still slightly bullish. So slightly bullish, trend is neutral. High-low continuation is not one for a buy. High-low candle reversal, there's not one for a sell. I mean, this thing's it's all kinds of messed up. So we'll follow it and we'll see where it goes. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark up opening price. All right, so we have a pending. Well, there was a pending buy signal. Now it's coming back down. And this is a pretty messy. This is going to be a pretty messy entry here. So we still have there's a pending buy momentum here. If that closes and it closes with a strong green candle, then this would technically be the breakout here. If it closes, if it doesn't close with the bullish momentum, then we're still looking for a strong red candle. So let's go ahead and try to analyze this again slightly. There's no trend. High-low continuation for a sell is there. I'll just put this here. Sell, yes. Buy now. No for either one. Or let me check this real quick. 10. All right. Sell no. All right, so I'm going to try to, we might have a sell here for the breakout. So looking at that right there, that doesn't apply because it's bullish. That doesn't apply because it's neutral. Sell, yes. There's only two confluences here for a sell. So this is going to be a tricky entry. If this becomes a sell for the breakout, it's going to be pretty tricky. If it's a buy, which it might be off this next candle right here, it's still going to be tricky. So if you guys want to take the trade here, I mean, there's no confluence in either direction for a buy or a sell. So this might be a buy here for the breakout. If this closes with a strong green candle, I would probably wait for it to retrace back because this candle is too big. And I would definitely probably use a trailing stop if you want to take this for the buy right here. This candle is like way too big though. So it looks like it's going to close, but I mean, this is the market right now. It's all over the place. It's not really looking good at all. No, and look at this huge wick. So this would still not be the breakout because there's the wick's too big and there's no buy signal on this. Yeah, Maddie said might be no breakout today. Yeah. Might not be, Maddie. Yeah, Matty said market's waiting for FOMC. Yeah, today's FOMC statement, interest rate hike. Today, the interest rate hike is going up. So the market's not supposed to be good, but market might be manipulated and pushed to the upside because everyone's expecting it to drop, right? So we're still looking for a sell here. If there's a buy signal, then, I mean, this might be a sell. It closes. So if this closes here, this might be the breakout. But again, if you're looking at this here, if there's not enough confluences for it to be I mean, I would still take the buy. So looking at the confluences here now for a sell, there's no there's for sure no confluences here for a sell because the high-low continuation is broken. It's now overlapping. There's no high-low candle reversal. So I definitely won't be looking for a sell here. I probably would be looking for a buy if and when it closes and provides an entry. But I will be using a very tight trailing stop. I moved my trailing stop to 150 pips, so I can protect my position in case it goes upside down on me. All right, so this is the 635 candle, guys. If there's no breakout off this, then there's no breakout at all today. Cutoff for the breakout is only for the first 5 minutes. There's just literally no direction in the market. So it looks like there is not going to, or maybe, let's see if this closes. Nope. Yeah, no. So unfortunately, guys, no breakouts today. It's 6:36. It's already past the first 5 minutes of the market. So yeah, unfortunately, no breakout today. Oh, what a nasty one. The market today was like, I mean, it spiked both directions like super heavily. Either way, if there was a breakout in either direction, it still wouldn't have hit TP at all because it hasn't pushed enough to reach any of the targets. But unfortunately, no breakout today. There's one thing that I started to notice that I showed Maddie. Is John in here? Let's see. John is here. So John, you know how you mentioned that you've been applying the counter trend on the 3 minute? It works really good on the 1 minute. So the same strategy you're applying, but I was going for 500 pips. So this might be something that you want to look at. Unfortunately, no breakout here, guys. So I'm going to take this off. This is going to happen sometimes. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen sometimes where there's no breakout because there's like literally no direction in the market. So right now we tried to look for the breakout for the first 5 minutes. Nothing came up. There still is no breakout right now, even if you were to continue long. This is probably a sign that the market's not really going to choose a direction. But basically, the strategy that I was referring to, basically what John was doing on the 3 minute, for the 3 minute daily, this is basically a 1 minute daily. Let's see, Maddie said only 2 losses this month on the 1 minute chart. Both were due to being right at the sessions. Thanks, Maddie, for the breakdown. Maddie actually back tested it all last night. But I'll show you an example of that. There's nothing going on in the market right now anyway, so there's nothing for us to take. There's nothing for us to really analyze. There's no bias. Let me check what the bias is right now. All right, it's currently up 150 points, so it's still pretty. It's a little bullish, not very strong, but it's still a little bullish. Looking over here at the sentiment, it's neutral. So it's still slightly bullish, not very bullish, but slightly bullish. If you're looking for a bias. However, the trend here isn't, looks like it's trying to shift to the downside, but it's having a real hard time getting past the London Open right here. Huge dump. So here's the dump right here. This is probably going to be anticipation of the Fed meeting today. The Fed meeting is not going to be good, guys. There's going to be interest rate hike. So with the interest rate hike, it's not going to be good for the economy. It's going to be more expensive to borrow money. So we're already expecting this to come down. The problem with the news today is that everybody knows everybody knows that it's not good for the market, right? So the thing is, a lot of people are going to try to take sells here, but the market's not going to, like all the market makers and people who push price, they're not going to make it that easy, right? Because you could, like literally, if you're just going based off fundamentals, then the sell here is all that matters, because there's no way the economy is doing good where stocks can do good, even if earnings are good, right? It doesn't matter because we're going to a recession and the interest rates are going up. So like looking at this right here for the news, this is a real thing that's going to affect the market today. It's the FOMC statement at 11 o'clock. It's only 7, or it's not even 7 yet. And everything is kind of, everything is having this pre-news movement. Basically the FOMC statement over here, if you're not familiar with it, basically the US Treasury, they're going to be discussing the economic health here in in the US, and how we're going to combat the upcoming recession, right? In order to do that, they're going to need to increase interest rates. And and increasing interest rates isn't good because it's going to be more expensive to borrow money. Like if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a house, you want to have a loan for anything, really, the interest rates are going to be pretty high. So you're going to pay a lot more than you normally would if it was lower. So with that said, everybody knows this is going to be bad. There's no way that they're going to lower interest rates. They're increasing interest rates. So with that said, everybody thinks price is going to go down. And what they're doing here is you're basically trapping people. So people are going to enter sells. They're going to spike price up, stop them out, and then bring it right back down, right? And why do they do that? So that people re-enter. They stop them out, push it back up, stop them out again, push it back up. And then you can see right here, it's just going to be a huge range. What I'll do here is I'll mark up the high and the low so that you guys can follow this and see exactly where the range is going. But realistically, I think price is just going to range all day today. So this might be a good opportunity to scalp both ways if and when you wanted to do that. However, I'd be very careful because I think it's just going to keep ranging back and forth. So like there's a couple V3s here, like this V3 here would have hit pretty nice. This V3 here would have hit pretty nice. There's probably gonna be another V3. So if you guys are looking to scalp, it's like perfect opportunity to go for these quick moves. But I'm not really going to risk it myself personally. I'm going to stick to my trading plan. I'm only going to be taking the breakouts once a day. I'm not really going to take any scalps right now because I'm trying to basically prove this experiment to you guys that like if you just take the breakout once a day, you can pass the challenge and you can stay funded consistently. It's just all about risk management and using, you know, a high probable strategy over and over again. So let's see. Janae's asking, how do you set your trailing stop? I use the FTMO toolbar, Janae. So if you use the FTMO trade manager toolbar, there's a trailing stop function on there. It's like a DOM. It's basically a DOM, but you can use, you can set a trailing stop as well. So that's how I personally do it. Anyways, let me show you guys an example of like what I was just talking about. So John's strategy here that he applies is the daily strategy. So basically you're just applying the daily on, okay, let's go to the daily from yesterday. There's nothing right here, but let's go to the daily from yesterday. So on the 26th over here, what John does is he basically waits for basically an opposite entry. So we're gonna go and identify the daily entry here. Okay, so let me go and just replay over here. This is something that we're not applying yet, but I just looked at this yesterday because John had like really good stats for applying this on the 3-minute. And I figured, okay, if it works on the 3-minute, it should work on the 1-minute. It's the same thing, right? So if you remembered for the daily strategy, or basically the daily entry on whatever time frame you're applying, you're looking for the first momentum signal after market open, right? So for this right here, this is the first valid momentum signal. What John does, or what we would do, this strategy is like the easiest one to apply. You're basically looking for the first valid signal after market open. Market open right here at 6:30. You can see there's a valid buy signal right here. So with this would technically be the daily entry, right? But what John did himself was he would only take it if it was a counter trend trade. So you can see from down here, the trend meter is red, right? So this is a counter trend trade because you're going against the trend, which is bearish. So if this was red, John would just not take it because it'd be a valid entry. But if it was like this opposite, he would take it in the opposite direction. So as simple as that, you just wait for a counter trend trade. You let this run right there. Price pushes in profit and full TP for 500 pips. I'll be looking out for this today if this comes up, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It's super simple. It's just a daily strategy on the 1-minute, but only take it if it's going against the trend. We pretty much back tested the entire month of July. There's only 2 losses because so you guys can imagine, you know, there was like 3 weeks, you have 2 losses, you're making 500 pips each. That's like, I don't know how many days is that. That's like give or take maybe like, I'll say like 18 days. So 18 days times 500. That's 9,000 pips minus 2 losses, 1,000 pips. That's 8,000 pips right there, just using that one strategy times 10. That's 80,000 profit if you're using 10 lot. So I'll show you one more example over here for Monday. And this is something you guys can test or back test. I'm still testing it with Maddie. Unfortunately, the data can only go back so far, so there's not too much that we can really do about it. Okay, so like here is the so for this one right here where it's invalid, so there's a couple different ways to apply it. There's if you get an invalid signal like this, you could either just ignore it and just not take the trade for that day, or what I started to notice is you can just take, like, if price pushes down in the opposite direction, trend here is red, but the entry here is bullish, right? You just put a buy stop there, just basically just waiting for it to come back up. Not a buy stop there, you would actually wait for it. Sorry, I'm getting confused with how I was applying it. You would ignore that one. This one right here wouldn't apply, but this one over here, this one was the one where it was against the trend because the trend meter here was red. And then this is the opposite entry basically. So you basically just skip the actual entry and then wait for this. We never apply the daily on the 1 minute. So there's no 1 minute daily strategy, but this is just a little variation to the daily strategy applied on the 1 minute where you do counter trend. So invalid, this is valid, but it's not one that we would take. And this would be the one where it was invalid right here. And then it ends up going up in our direction. So I mean, it's kind of a counterproductive way of trading if you are on the higher time frame, because typically this is applied on the 10 minute. I've never applied on the 1 minute, but going over pretty much all the previous days, it hits pretty often. So I mean, it's a 1-to-1 strategy. If you could have over 50% of the time winning, you know, it's pretty solid. I have to check like other days, and the set would have to be further tested. But if you guys want to go test it yourself, it works out pretty nicely. Yeah, that's right, PC. It's 500 both ways. He's asking, so you would ignore the momentum signals after open that are not counter trend? Yeah, typically you would ignore it and then just wait for the actual one, or you can just ignore it in general, like the entire time. So it just you know, it just depends on like how you would want to apply. Like if you want to be risky, yeah, you can just ignore it and then wait for it to actually come. If you want to be conservative, you just skip it and wait for the next one, because this is like a once a day strategy. So there's a couple different ways to apply. I'd have to back test it to see, or back test it and or forward test it to see like what works best. But I think either one, even the riskier ways of doing it, applies pretty well too. You said, did you only test it doing it once a day? Yeah, it's only once a day because it's a daily strategy. So there's no other opportunities for it. It's not like a continuous strategy. You're just looking for the direction on open, because that's where volatility is high, right? You don't want to take it in Asia when the volatility is low. Of course, it's not going to play out. You want to take it when the market's actually moving. Market open right here at 630. This is where volatility actually moves, where you can catch 500 pips. If you take it in Asia, you're going to get like 10 pips or something, or 100 pips. So this strategy is meant for the daily. It's not something you apply all day. If you were to apply this all day, you basically would be doing the opposite of what the intraday strategy is, right? The intraday strategy is where you actually do match them. Like for example, here, this is matching green and green. It works. Green and green, it works as well. So this isn't meant for an all-day strategy. It's just for the daily. Question from Sam. Sam's asking, how about if the trend meter was blue and market was sideways? Then it wouldn't work, Sam. The whole point of the strategy is to counter trend trade it. So you would need it to, like, for example, today, right? It wouldn't work for something like today because actually, no. So there's nothing off this one right here. But yeah, this is the example you're basically using right today. There was a green signal right here. And the trend meter was blue. So that would defeat the purpose of the strategy. You're basically looking for opposite. So like, for example, right here, this would actually be the entry. I'm not going to take this entry because the market's literally not doing anything. But I think this would technically be the entry today if you're applying it. Oh, okay, Maddie said it was right at open. Or no, actually. Yeah, it's right at news price right there. So I'm not taking this entry right here, guys. We're just gonna follow it. I don't recommend you guys take it either. It's just a strategy that I just went over right now. Basically, it's just a variation to the 10-minute daily, but it's applied on the 1 minute. But the market right now is not a good market to, I mean, really take anything because price just keeps going back and forth either way. Let's see. So yeah, this right here would be, let me just mark up opening price. Opening price was right here. This was on a blue trend meter. This here was in the actual direction. This right here would be the actual one if you're like looking to take it. So I'll come back and check on this later. I'm not going to leave it on the chart because I don't want you guys to think that we're in this position. But I will come back and check on it if and when price does swing back up. I don't think price is really going to go anywhere though. You can see the range right here. This is pretty much where price is just sitting. It's just going to be chilling around this area because this is the high and this is a low from open. So this is pretty much the range that's going on at the moment. There's not really too much to look at. It's a big range. If it was a tighter range, you could trade within it, but it's a pretty big range. Let me see if there's any other entries here that could have been taken. There's a V1 right here. So in this big range right here, you can see these variations hit pretty often, 100 pips, almost full TP, but then it's right at the opening price, I believe. Here, I'm going to type this up over here, text. This is New York open. This is London open. And then there's also news coming up right here at 7 o'clock. Thanks, Aaron. For the, gotcha. Maddie said out of all the losses that happened applying this strategy was due to red flags. So if you, as long as you apply that strategy that I showed you guys, and you avoid news price sessions, if you guys are not familiar with the red flags, basically these right here, sessions, opening price, news price, candles too big, prices ranging. This is the only times the trade lost. So, you know, I can probably check the month here. Let me see how many days we're in July so far. How many trading days? So looking at the chart, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 trades, 16 wins, only 2 losses. And the only losses that Maddie identified were because it was near these red flags. So yeah, even though this would be one of the entries, we wouldn't take it because it's literally at the news price right here. And we have news coming up again here at 7. All right, so if you guys want to test it out, feel free. You guys are more than welcome to back test it. If you guys have access to the indicators, you guys will see that the consistency of wins are pretty high. That's basically what I'm looking for, or what I've been focused on lately. I've been looking for daily entries, basically once a day strategies that have a very high win rate. Because if you can take a strategy once a day and then risk, 1 to 2%, if you take X amount of these, you can do pretty well, because usually a lot of these strategies align. I think it applied here for the 10-minute as well. So thanks to John for like bringing that idea up, because I was like thinking about it all day yesterday. I was like, man, John has like an 89% win rate using applying that strategy. It has to work on other time frames. So let's see the one from yesterday. So I'll show you guys the one from yesterday. I think it worked here on the 10 as well. The problem with applying this on the on the 10-minute is that the trade will come up super late. So what was that? So there's actually nothing here. This was yeah, this one was with the trend meter. Let me look the day before. All right, so here's one from the day before. This is from Monday. So this isn't an official strategy, guys. If you guys want to come and test this, you're more than welcome if you have access to the K2 indicators, but I wouldn't consider this an official strategy. I just want to show you guys an example of like this little variation to the daily entry. I mean, it's not really a variation because this is actually a daily entry. This is just a confluence. So it's basically an extra confluence if you want to take the daily. So for example, right here, for the daily strategy on Monday, market open here at 6:30. And I'll put the requirements here for the daily. This is like the easiest strategy you can apply. You're just waiting for the first valid K2 momentum signal after open. A lot of the time this week, there's no bias, so we can't even confirm this right here. But you're looking for entry after 6:30. 6:30 is this blue line. You're confirming the first valid K2 momentum signal right here. And then there's no other requirements. That's literally it. The confluence you're looking for is whether it is counter trend. So right here, the trend is bullish. The momentum signal here is red. This is basically just telling you that, hey, a reversal is going to happen here, right? It's just a heads up, like, yo, reversal is probably going to happen here. And you can probably take this trade. So there goes the daily entry. And you can see right there, it ends up hitting full TP. So this is literally the daily strategy. You're just using John's addition to it for a confluence. So this is, you would have taken the strategy already if you were just applying the strategy by itself. But if you wanted, a better idea as to like, okay, is price probably going to go in that direction? You just confirm whether it's a counter trend and it typically hits. So this is 1,500 pips, a normal daily application of the strategy, but John's little twist to it where he kind of confirms that it's opposite. So thanks, John, for that heads up. Let's see, question from PC. PC is asking, does the candle at 9:30 count for? No, it doesn't, PC. It's going to be the first one after. So you got to wait for the first one after market open. So here goes that entry that I marked up earlier. Same thing from earlier. It's now in profit. This is the one that we marked up. I think we might have to change the parameters for the 1 minute because I think 500 might be too high. Or I don't know, maybe it'll be fine. But here's that entry that I marked up earlier. It's now currently running in profit. I'm not going to take it, but I just want to show you guys that it's currently running. Damn, if I took it, I'd be in profit right now. It's okay. We got to test it. There's only one way to really figure out if it works or not, right? It's all through trial and error. And who best to test it out than myself? I just need to be careful taking this on like my live accounts. I would have to take it with the smaller lot size because it's just too risky since we haven't really tested it far enough to understand. Let me check out the 3 minute real quick, or I have a 3 minute chart, so I'll go to 3 minute. All right, so here's the 3 minute right here. Let's see if there's still nothing here on the 3. This is the one that John has actually been applying. So I'll keep looking at this. Let me see what John said. So let me just reread what John put in the chat yesterday. John said for the 3 minute strategy in the past 32 days, if you take the counter trend trade, the 3 minute will give you 79% win rate using a 300 TP stop loss, a 67% win rate for a 50-50. But if you do a negative risk reward, 30 pip TP or 30 point TP, 50 point stop loss, win rate is actually 87.6%. So it's a pretty high win percentage. Given that, this strategy is super simple. So nice. So Madhu said he took a late entry on that new 1 minute strategy, got stopped out in profit. Nice, Medu. It's risky right now to take any entries because the news happened right now at 1 o'clock. So I wouldn't have even thought about taking it. News is right here at 7. Price is now reacting to news. So hopefully you guys took that into consideration before hopping in. So here's a news candle right here. So Peter said news was very negative. Pending home sales right here. Oh, it was super negative. Yeah, you're right, Peter. So it was previously 0.7% positive. They're forecasting it to be negative 1%. It was actually negative 8.6%. So people are not buying homes right now. That's not good for the economy, right? If people aren't buying homes, it just indicates that people are either don't have money or people are worried for the recession that's coming. So they're saving money. So yeah, pending home sales here, super, super negative. You can see price over here reacting to it. I'll mark up news price right there. So the red flags still apply, guys. Applying these trades here on the 1 minute, always got to keep in mind all the red flags over here when prices near sessions, prices near opening price, prices near news price, candles too big, prices ranging, etc. So let's see. Maddie said if a buy signal comes on the 3 minute, it'll probably hit. Yeah, no, I can see that too. Because we have a pending buy here, right, Maddie? Pending buy signal plus trend meters red. We get that. Could happen. Gotcha, nice. Medu said he got in at 31,910, got stopped out at 31,925. Nice. So small profit there, nothing crazy. But I'm glad that you still locked in some profit off that. Here's some scalps from Kevin this morning. So Kevin locked in some pretty good profit so far. Small loss right there. Looks like it might have been an accident. It's only 40 bucks, but everything else here pretty much straight wins. So great work right there, Kevin. Yeah, so this is probably the best market conditions for Kevin here because Kevin likes to trade both ways, right? So with him trading both ways, he's able to pretty much take quick profits in both directions. So nice work, Kevin. Question from Bobby. Bobby said V1 happened at 6:50 Eastern. Can you take a look to confirm? Let me take a look real quick. So 6:50 right here. So Bobby's asking about this V1 that happened at 6:50. So at 6:50 right here, there was a V1. A couple red flags right here, Bobby. So we go over here to the red flags. The main thing would be news price. So like and opening price too. So looking at where price currently is, these pink lines right here are news price. So you want to avoid trades when price is near news price, and you also want to avoid trades when price is near opening price. So the blue line right here is opening price. The pink line right here is news price. So let's just mark this up right here for the V1 that you're referring to. There would be the V1 entry. Let's see if it runs. And it actually hit TP. So it was a risky trade, but it still hit TP right there. Bobby. So yeah, everything applied right here. It's just, it would have been considered a risky trade because it was like right next to news price. And then also, wait, is that news price from right now? Actually, yeah. So that news price was actually not there. You could have taken that trade if you wanted to, because the news price, this pink line wasn't there. That was for the news that just happened. So yeah, looking at that V1 right there, this would have been an okay trade. I mean, it's still close to an open price, but you would have hit your TP before it touched it or close to it. So the V1 here did apply, Bobby. So you did identify that perfectly. If you guys are not familiar with what strategy Bobby's referring to, he's referring to the variation V1. A couple of things here that you can't confirm though. So it looks like everything's met except the overall bias. Overall bias was neutral or slightly bullish. at the time when we looked at earlier. So if you were to use that, you can't confirm overall buy. So if you can't get past the first requirement, technically it's going to be difficult for you to enter. But I mentioned from this morning, since price is ranging, you can technically take trades in both directions. So the bias isn't really necessary for today. Everything else here applies. There's the high right here. There's a double body rejection right there with this green and red candle. There's a pending momentum coming because the most recent signal was a bullish signal. And this would be the entry right here. So pretty much all requirements met. If you took it, full TP. Not one I would take because I find it to be really risky around opening price. But if you wanted to take it, the requirements here would have been met. This is like a special case though. Typically, we don't take trades when there's no bias. But since price is ranging and we know price is bouncing back and forth, you can technically take trades in either direction. Just looking at all of the variations here, it looks like all of them pretty much hit. So looking back at this previous low, this is another V1 for a full TP right there. Right, full TP. This right here would be a V3. But not, it looks like the candle is too big. Actually, it's not that bad. It's like 360, or it's still dropping, so it's going to be even further. Yeah, it's like 490 pips actually. It's still pretty far. If it's over 500, it's too long. It's too big of a candle. So yeah, this here is too big of a candle for the V3. But anyways, just looking at these previous entries here, they all would have hit. So like this V1 right here would have hit full TP. This is nothing. This is nothing. This is a V1 that would have hit full TP. Nothing there. Nothing there. This is a V3. I think it would have been too big though, right? Kind of, yeah, it's a little too big. Would have got close. If you trailed your stop, you would have been solid, but it's too big of a move. Nothing here. So basically like two variations here, V1 and V1, both would have hit full TP right there. But other than that, nothing else. So I'm going to go here and mark up the high lows real quick so that you guys can identify where structure is. Let's go back real quick. It's just such a choppy market that there's nothing for you guys to really look at or take. But I think a couple of the other strategies would work good here too, like the high-low scalps, basically high-low scalps and variations, because those are the quick moves that you can scalp for in both directions. Probably some engulfing entries too. But again, I'm not telling you guys to take these trades because I do see the market being very risky. I typically don't like trading when I don't know the direction. Like right now, we don't know the direction, so I'm not trading at all. And I'm just sticking to the daily. So if you guys have any questions or you want me to analyze anything, like if you guys see an entry and you're confused about it, or you want me to confirm it like Bobby did here, just drop a question in the chat. I can help you guys with whatever you guys need help with. This is probably the best time for you guys to get help if you guys don't attend the mentoring sessions, because typically I don't have the luxury of answering questions during the live session since we're typically trading. So let's see. Anything else here? A question from EE's asking, did you back test the 1 minute daily in July only or June? I didn't even test it. Maddie's the one that has tested it. So he's tested it from July, from my understanding. Maddie, did you test it back to June yet or not yet? I don't know if you could even go back that far in the data. It gets cut off. But I think Maddie's done it in July. I'm not sure if he's gone farther back into June yet. Okay, Maddie's only gone back to July 4th. So from July 4th until current date, I haven't tested it myself. I've only tested it like 2 weeks back. But Maddie's actually tested it all throughout. He gave me the details too, I think. Let's see. Yeah, so Maddie actually he back tested it pretty much all last night right here. He has all of the entries right here. July 4th, full TP. July 6th, it was a loss, but he mentioned that it went 34 points in profit, then drawdown. Then went 38 points in profit and stop loss. Entry was at session. So it was right at the sessions. Probably would have avoided that red flag. July 7th, it was also at the sessions. So whenever it's at the sessions, one of the red flags, it still applies. Everything else though, pretty solid. July 8th over here, full TP, no drawdown. July 12th, no entry. July 13th, no entry. Full TP right here. July 15th, full TP right there. July 18th, loss, but it was right at the opening price. 20th, full TP. 22nd, full TP. So straight TP right there. And these are big moves. They're not small moves, 500 pips. It's not like a 10, 100 pip move. This is actually for a big push. Full TP right there. Full TP right there. And that's pretty much it. So here's Maddie's profits for the day so far. Maddie locked in 450 off this account. Nice work, Maddie. And then 590 off this account right here. He took the high-low rejection and pulled it early for half TP. So nice work right there, Maddie. A couple of the profits here that you guys posted. Jenny over here, she locked in a total profit of 6,280. Great work right here, Jenny. So far, and this is all from this morning too. So you took a trade at 630, 631, 633, 639, 703. So all wins, no losses here by Jenny. Great work, Jenny. Scrolling up right here, we have Scotty. Scotty locked in a total profit of 1,860. He took all these trades this morning as well. Looks like he's taking the scalps in both directions, which is ideal for these conditions. So nice work right there, Scotty. But yeah, if you guys have any more profits to post up, feel free. I just marked up the areas of liquidity here just so that you guys can have an idea of market structure. There's not really too much going on. It's just bouncing back and forth. There's a V1 right here, but it was right at the opening price. Yeah, it's now in a downtrend. We have more news coming up right here at 7:30. 3 minutes still hasn't come up yet. Let's see, 5 minute over here. Nothing either. 10 minute. Nothing here. So there's not really much to take. I mean, I looked at the 3 minute, 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. There's nothing to really take here. Looks like price kind of pushed down a little bit. Now it's going back into a range. So the range just got moved down a little lower. It's tighter now, but it's lower. So price pushed down slightly, and then now it's ranging within this area right here. Let's see, Maddie said, but fake out sellers as it goes down. Yeah, no, and I agree too, Maddie. I think it's going to keep going back and forth. They're going to drop price a little bit so that they can increase the sellers in the market. Because, obviously, if people start to see prices coming down, people are going to hop into these sells. I think it's too early to hop into sells just yet because the news hasn't really happened yet for the Fed. It's currently in a downtrend, obviously, you guys can see here. It isn't a downtrend, but the range here is so wide. So if you measure this point to here, it's about 1,000 pips almost. So a lot of room for retracement to stop people out before it comes right back down. But overall, I think you probably want to look for a sell. So I think the best way of applying entries here or looking for entries is really just waiting for the retracement to the upside and then catching it on its way back down. Because overall, I think price is going to drop, obviously, because of the interest rates and whatnot. But there's no clear direction. I mean, it's easy for you to get stopped out or end up on the wrong side of the market if you end up getting bad entry. So, yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I don't really see too much going on right here. I'm still looking around to see if I could find anything, but I'm not really going to take any of these on my actual account. Stick it to the breakout only. So let me go back over here. I mean, not really anything. Price is just pushing up higher now at this point. It's going to create another range or a higher high, and then, or I guess lower high compared to the previous one, but it's just going to create another high here. And then I think it's going to continue ranging, or it's going to keep pushing up higher to basically stop out all the sellers and then come back down. They're just luring in more people into the sell side. So this number here changed. Earlier this morning, it was at about 55%. This indicates that these people either they got stopped out or they pulled out of the position. Starting to increase a little bit right here. Nice at 3-minute daily pending. Yeah, possible 3-minute here. Let's take a look at it, see if this fits John's requirements. You look at his requirements again. Yeah, 79% win rate for a 30-30. So I mean, it's pretty solid. We'll see if it closes. Has about a minute left on here. So basically, the daily, if this closes as a buy signal, this would be the daily for the 3-minute. It also fits the requirements for John's confluence here. So we'll see if it plays out. Still got a minute left on it. Nothing here on the 1. If it keeps pushing up, though, it'll be good because it'll be away from from this current news price. There's going to be another area here, which should be risky though, because the next news price is coming up slightly as well. So let's see where this goes. 30 seconds left on it. This is going to be a tricky candle because if it moves at the last like 10 seconds, you can see that if it gets above this point, it closes with this, it'll have a signal, but if it closes below it, that signal disappears. So let's see if it works out. This is like the worst part when it gets all choppy like this at the last like 10 seconds. So no signal. And this is why you got to be patient and disciplined, guys. You guys can't be entering this early. If you entered here like 10 seconds early, then you'd be screwed because there's no entry at that point, right? It's really key that if you guys apply any of the strategies, not just the K2 strategies, whatever strategies you guys want to apply, you have to wait for the actual confirmation. You can't just enter it right away. Because if you enter this 10 minutes or 10 seconds before or 5 seconds before, you would have been screwed because there's no entry. So just keep that in mind, guys. You're going to see a lot of this choppiness today, I'm sure, because of the news coming up. But yeah, no entry yet. So if there's any questions, guys, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm here to help you guys out. So if you guys have anything you want me to cover, anything you want me to explain deeper, I can, since I'm not necessarily looking for any entries right now. I'll come back to this 3 to see if it closes, but looks like volatility kind of died down a bit right here. John said I did 2 early entries on the opening today and lost. I have a rule against early entry, but FOMO got the best of me. Yeah, no, it happens, John. I mean, if you're anticipating that entry, you do what I just mentioned. And I've done it too before. A lot of the times it works out in my favor, thankfully, but a lot of times it also doesn't. So it's all good, John. John had like what I just said right now, it happened to John twice. He did 2 early entries and lost. He typically has a rule against it, but his FOMO got the best of him, which happens. If you guys are really tempted to take a trade, it's easy to just enter a trade without really confirming it. But I mean, that's what really makes you a disciplined trader. If you guys can control yourself and not enter right away. So let's see, we got a 10-minute pending momentum. So there's another one here on the 10, Maddie, as well. Again, I'm not going to take this trade, obviously, but another one over here. Oh yeah, this is a V3 right here as well. I'll go for a smaller move though. 150 is kind of wide. Yeah, it is lining up with the 3-minute daily if it ends up closing. Again, it didn't close right there. Unfortunately, you guys can see it. Like, this is the trick here where you get people get trapped in trades. If you enter too early, you get screwed, because this here was pending and it changed in like the last 10 seconds. This here was pending and it changed in like the last 5 seconds. So it's really just waiting for it to confirm. If this closed here, it would have been nice. It would have lined up with that 10-minute that Maddie referred to here. And yeah, I probably would have taken the trade if that was the case. So we have a V3 here running. This is a V3. And then if it closes, this would be a the daily entry, basically. So you basically have strategies within strategy. This might push up to the next snooze price right there on the 1 minute. Here goes the 3-minute still pending, trying to make its way up. This here wouldn't apply now, Maddie, because you can see the trend meter is now going to be, it's going to be blue. So the counter trend move there wouldn't be applicable. But this here might still play out. And I'm so tempted to FOMO into this, but I'm not going to. I got to stay disciplined. I told you guys I'm only going to take the breakout. So I'm not going to take these trades. I'm following them, but I'm not going to take them. So just FYI, guys. I just want to show you guys, because the thing is, if I take them, then it's going to go off the trading plan. I want to teach you guys discipline to stick to, one thing. So for me, I'm just sticking to the daily. I mean, not daily, the breakout. I'll follow these trades, but I'm not going to hop into them. I don't really feel like taking risky trades anyway, so it works out for me. But I'm pretty sure these will probably still hit. But it's got to stay disciplined. So easy to FOMO into these moves. How far is left on this? It's pretty close to TP. 170 pips. Still no close there. Still no close here either on the 3. Back to the 1. Looks like it's creating an area of liquidity right here on the 1 minute. So if this closes and it creates an area of liquidity, it's probably going to push up to this next level after. Let me see how far of a range is available here. It's a nice 150 pips. Back to the 10, still pushing up, hasn't closed yet. Back to the 3. So this here did close. Unfortunately, the trend meter here wasn't colored, but it still is a buy for the I mean, depending on where you're looking at the trend. If the trend is like right here, then I mean, if you're using the pivots, it would indicate a downtrend, but this right here didn't fit the requirements, the trend meter, unless you wanted to do a late entry if and when it swung back up. I don't know. This market today is it's just not a good market. So I'm gonna try my best not to FOMO into these moves here. I'll follow them, but I'm gonna try my best not to FOMO. It's hard not to FOMO when you see these entries here, because a lot of these align. Like the 3-minute, they're aligned with the 10. It just hasn't closed yet. It needs to close. The 1 minute here. What I was really looking for is this area of liquidity, because if it hits this area of liquidity, I think it's going to keep pushing up. So I personally think it's going to push up a bit. It's just going to prop price up because when the news happens here at 11, so this is the main thing that you want to be careful for. At 11, I think price is going to definitely drop at some point. This is when the Fed speaks and they release the new interest rate. I mean, they've been reporting on it. Let's see. They have been reporting on the interest rate hike. See, President Biden tests negative for COVID and will end strict quarantine. All right. Well, that's cool, I guess. There isn't. Just trying to see if there's anything here that was useful. No, there wasn't any update. I mean, there was probably an update earlier this morning, but I don't see anything else here. Stock rises, investors await key Fed decision. Okay, let's see if they have an update here for that. So let me check the Fed news. They had a number here. They are anticipating the for the increase. So I'd say with so many moving parts to consider, we expect markets to remain volatile after the FOMC meeting, wrote Mark Halfield of UBS Global Wealth Management. Basically, with the markets anticipating a 3.3% Fed funds rate by year end, this means that after this week's meeting, there may be about 100 BPS of rate hikes by the end of December. So a pretty volatile market from now until, I guess, the end of the year, or that's what's being expected. And, I'm not surprised. Obviously, I'm not surprised because we're not there yet overall. So we still have about, let's see, it's July. We have about 5 months left, or not July, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Oh yeah, 5 months. That's right. We have about 5 months left until the end of the year, and they're just going to keep increasing the Fed funds rate because we are going to go into a recession, and that's basically what we'll be looking for. So that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing because it's going to keep the markets volatile from now until the end of the year. We don't want markets to be slow and dead. We want it to be spiking back and forth, whether it be choppy or whether it be directional. So let's go back to the 10-minute over here. Looks like the 10 minutes almost at TP. Yeah, John said it's a trendless market. I agree, John. And this might be good because if it continues to become volatile and it's a trendless market, we can just go back to taking the scalps, basically variations. Any of the 1 minute scalps, really, you can take them in either direction if it's a trendless market. You just got to make sure that it's actually moving, that it's volatile. It's not just flat. So this V3 here is still running. There's a pending buy signal here off the 10. 3 minute over here as well, currently up slightly. Let's see if there's anything else over here. How far is this? Still pending. Here's that 3 minute that we drew up earlier. It's still running. So this 3 minute here is currently running. I mean, this isn't actually the strategy. This would just be the 3 minute daily, but not the, it doesn't fit the confluence that John uses for the counter trend. I mean, technically it would be counter trend because it was bearish up until this point, but I'd have to test it more to figure out if what we'll do if it's blue right here. Maybe we'll back test this or forward test this on the 3 minute, just like for an experiment as well, because we could probably use this. Like, for example, if it's bearish and then it goes blue, this could still be technically considered bearish unless it turns opposite of green. So it's all trial and error. We're going to figure out what works best. Man, good thing I didn't enter right here. I was getting tempted to enter for that last push right here for like 1,000 pips, but I got to really control myself with taking any entries. And also there's news right here at. So here's the liquidity push right here, guys. Typically when I take the liquidity pushes, I would only go for 100 pips, right? So if you were to take this liquidity push right here, I did mark it up. You could have caught it for a quick 100 pips there. I haven't been taking it lately, but just showing you guys that, yeah, there's a liquidity push that could have been taken at this point, same area that I drew earlier. There is news on this candle though, so just be careful. I wouldn't recommend entering anything at the moment. Just wait to see how price reacts to the news. This is just a bad area. So this whole area right here, you can see where all the lines are, the horizontal lines. All the pink lines indicate that this was a news candle, a news price. The blue lines indicate opening price. And you can see this whole area right here is just a mess. So if I turn everything off so that you guys can see things better, you guys can see how much of a mess it is right here. There's no clear direction, price just going back and forth. As you guys can see, there is a bunch of news price right here. Price is still reacting to the news. It was news negative. Let's see. News was positive, Peter said, so it actually did the opposite. It was crude oil inventories right here at 7:30. It was actually very positive. So you can see here that it had completely opposite moves. So let's go to the 7 o'clock news event. So 7 o'clock news happened right here. Price pretty much just dumped, and then it came back up. And this right here, news was actually positive, but then it still dumped as well. This is why I don't trade news at all, because you don't know where price is going. Even if the news is like super positive, it was previously -0.4 million for crude oil inventories. They were predicting it to be -1.5. It was actually -4.5. So it was a pretty big change. I mean, same with the pending home sales, big change as well. They're expecting it to be -1%. It was -8%. So here we go, as price drops, and then it'll probably swing back up. You can see where price is kind of stuck at news price or opening price right there. Turn these back on. So rejection off opening price right here, or London open, and it'll probably correct back up. I think my target price point would be correction back up to a news price right here. It might not happen right now, but eventually I think it'll bounce back up and then just correct back down. This is just price reaction off news, and it'll probably swing back up. But yeah, here's a clean chart. Let me go ahead and just mark this up to show you guys how there's like literally no direction in the market today. So here's the clean chart for US30. I'll mark up 630 where the market opened. Chart. So 630 right here. 630 to 7, 7 to 8. Let's turn this off. So this is pretty much the market direction for the entire session so far. There hasn't been any direction, right? Price just goes back and forth. It's a big spike up, big spike down, huge wicks on both sides, and then a continuation sideways right here. So literally huge range back and forth. And then for this one right here from 7 to 8, same thing. It's just a big range back and forth. No direction. Typically you want price to be moving directional, to the downside, so that you can get that mid-market reversal to the other way, or opposite direction. You have price pushing up so that once it hits like mid-market over your 10, you can catch the reversal. But all in all, there's like no direction here at all. You guys can see, go on the higher time frame, I think it's even more noticeable. Yeah, no direction right there at all. So these are market conditions where you typically don't want to trade, because there's like literally no bias. If you look over here at the, let's take a look at the heat map real quick, refresh this. Heat map right now is pretty mixed. It's like half green, half red. So not really much for you to like choose a direction because everything is going both ways. Looking over here at the fundamentals are up 132 points. So they're still slightly bullish, but not very strong. Looking over here at the sentiment's back to 55%. It's like nothing has ever happened. Seems like people got out, got back in, or either got stopped out and just re-entered. It seems like a lot of people are banking on the drop, which makes sense, right? You'd expect it to drop because if they increase the funds rate, it's not good for the economy. But the thing is, it's not going to be a smooth move down. So if you were to take any sells at this, any time from open over here, you probably could have made some profit, but you also could have lost if you got caught in this spike up. Like, for example, if you entered at the low right here, you'd have to have some massive drawdown, 800 pips, enter at the other low right here, some more massive drawdown. You just got to look for the key areas when to actually enter. But I mean, it's not going to be that easy to tell. Technically, it looks like you can probably catch the rejections here. Like if price was to come up to this point, if your stop loss was about like 300 pips, TP was 100, you can catch these quick scalps. But here you go, as price continues to push up. Oh, it actually already pushed up. So there's my target. So I didn't realize it actually hit. You guys remember earlier I mentioned price was going to push up. Target price was going to be right here where news happened. So this right here was the news candle. And there you go, as price pushed up. Just a correction. So basically news happened right here at 7:30, price pushed below. I was expecting the correction. So price bounced off the opening price right here, and then it corrected back up to news price. So not really much for us to look at. It's 7:37 right now, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put in the chat. As I mentioned, I'm not looking to take any trades. So I'm just here to answer questions, basically cover anything that you guys need help with. If I spot any good trades, I'll let you guys know, but all in all, I don't really have anything here that I'm taking myself. I'm just analyzing and identifying where possible entries can appear. So there's no entry here off of 3. I'm going to delete that. It just didn't fit the requirements here that we were applying for John's strategy or John's confluence to the 3-minute daily. So there's nothing off of 3. This 10-minute is still running. This is a V3 that came up on the 10-minute. The 10-minute daily still hasn't closed yet. And the 1 minute over here is just bouncing around. It's just a messy chart. I mean, technically it's still in a downtrend, but it's a really messy downtrend. And there we go. Price has reached the target, which was news price right here. So news happened right here at 7:30. Price came down, bounced off news price, and reached the target correction. So this is a correction from news. This is what you guys can do sometimes. So like what you guys can do if you guys want to trade news, not that you guys should always apply this, but only if you guys are comfortable with applying it. So basically the news right here was positive, right? News at 7:30 was positive. Let me just show you guys what I did here. I could go over to a clean chart real quick. Let me so news happened here at 7:30. Where is it at? Okay. So news happened here at 7:30, right? This is news price. Basically, news was positive. So, I mean, you would have to have structure drawn up. I'll just show you here. It's easier on the markup because I already have everything marked up here. So this is news price at 7:30, right? The news was positive. So price comes down. And as price comes down, you're looking for rejection points. Where's price likely to bounce off, right? Right here, this is going to be, what is that? Is that news price? Yeah. So there's another news price here. So this is a possibility of rejection, or this area down here, which is the opening price. I think this would be stronger than news price. So I'd probably wait for it to come down to that point. And then if you wanted to take a trade from this point, you could have like a buy limit. And then you pretty much just ride this back to correction because you're already anticipating the correction to happen. So with price right there, pretty much just let it run. And then it comes back to that point and hits TP right there. there's a lot of ways to trade by applying the K2 indicators, K2 strategies, etc. I think the main key points here would be identifying where the rejection points are. You're just looking for rejection and then correction back in the direction of the news. So it's nothing too crazy, but it is, it is useful. So again, right here, here's the same thing at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock penny home sales, it was positive, right? So this was a news price right here, or basically where news dropped. You can see how price pushed up from this point. The correction that you'd be looking for is the push back down. So you look for the rejection, price rejects off news price. The news was negative, so you're expecting it to come back down. So if you wanted to take something like that, short position here, and I can just, just by looking at the charts, I pretty much identify where these entries could or would appear. So again, right there, it comes up. Depending on where your stop loss would be, you'd probably have to be a bit wider because you have a lot of these other areas of rejection. So maybe for a 1-to-1. Because you just got to keep enough space. You got to keep in mind that there is a spread as well. Spread right now is about 110 or 11, I think. So you want to cover the spread. You got to have at least 11 in there, enough to cover the spread. And then you also want to have it pushed far enough to where you're not going to get stopped out or price ends up rejecting off any of these right here. So you have wide enough stop loss, pretty much a 1-to-1. Retraces up a little further, comes back down, and full TP right there. So yeah, if there's anything that you guys have any ideas with, or you guys need, like if you guys already have a strategy that you apply and you want to incorporate the K2 indicators or any of the theories that I use here, just let me know and I can help you guys pretty much use this, because the K2 indicators can be used for any strategy. Whatever strategy you're applying, the indicators here will help you with whatever confluence you need, whether it's identifying rejection points, confluence of rejection, confluence of momentum. There's a ton of ways to use these indicators to help you improve your strategy. And that's what most people use here anyways. Or the more experienced traders here in K2, like John, for example, right? John has the, he applies the 3-minute here, but he applies it with a counter trend. So he uses the trend meter to basically improve his own strategy of counter trend trading off 3. And there's there's an unlimited ways of using these to your advantage. See if the 10 ever came up. So the 10 never came up to here, and there never came actual daily entry. This is why I'm not trading right now, because there's just so much choppiness in the market. There's no clear direction at all. So here he goes, price comes back down. If you look back from the bigger, so if you look back at the bigger picture right here, realistically, the range is still in the same range as it's been pushing since open. Market opened right here at 630. This is the high. Oops. Here's the open right here at 630. This is the high, and then this is the low. So you can see price has been ranging between it, but it hasn't really exited the range yet. So this is the range. It's a really big range. It pushed out a little bit right here, but it didn't close outside of it. So the range still hasn't been broken. One thing that you guys can identify here, though, is that price is actually squeezing. So from this point right here, price is squeezed down. And then from this point right here, price is squeezed up. So what happens when price squeezes like this? It's preparing for a breakout, right? You're just waiting for price to consolidate. Once it consolidates, it's going to break out one way or the other. Here's the range at this point. Price is pretty much squeezing as it starts to get tighter and tighter. So you're waiting for it to basically tighten. So like basically down here, if price gets tighter, once it's in a tighter range, like something like this right here, like a tighter range down the middle, then you can expect price to break out, one way or the other at that point. So let's keep that in mind, guys. Lots of possibilities that can come up in the next couple of minutes or so. It's getting close to 8 though, guys. So for the most part, there's not really much for us to look at. Peter, thanks for the link. Let me see what Peter sent me. Peter said that President Biden is going to be speaking today. All right, so it looks like you guys are in for a surprise. You got Biden speaking at 8:30. You got the Fed speaking at 11. Yeah, I'm definitely not trading today. It's just not worth the risk, guys. I mean, if you guys want to trade, feel free, but keep in mind that you might get caught in some bad trades here. I'm looking for any other entries here that could have came up. I just want to go over whatever would have came up here. There's no variations right here, no variation here. There was a V1 right here, but it was right at news price, so it's not necessarily one that I would personally want to take myself personally. Profit target right there would have hit. So this V1 right here still would have hit, even though it was a risky trade. This one right here, another V1. Full TP right there. So there's a lot of variations here that would have hit. So there was a V1 here, full TP. Another V1 right here, full TP. Nothing here. V3 right here. So there's a lot of variations here that would have played out. So depending if you guys are scalping or not, another V3 right there, V1, V1, V3, V1 right here, another full TP. Nothing, nothing, V1 right there, full TP. So there was a lot of entries here that you could have taken that would have hit TP if you guys were scalping. I'm not really messing with it though. See, Maddie said high-low reversal engulfing. Right now running in confluence with a 10-minute V3, full TP for 10 pips. Caught partial, I'm calling it a day. So Maddie over here kind of fumbled into a trade that he saw, and then now he's calling it a day because he can tell that the market is moving all over the place. And I would be really careful with taking the buys here, guys, because the thing is we were expecting price to drop, but a lot of these buys here, you don't know when it could be the last, the last push up before it ends up dumping. Especially with Biden coming on. Biden's going to speak right here at 8 o'clock or 8:30 actually. So you got that coming up. You got Biden speaking at 8:30. You got the Fed coming up at 11. It's not a good market. Yeah, Maddie said hopping off before I FOMO. I mean, weren't you just off, Maddie? I saw you log back into the Zoom. You logged back in just for that one move, huh? All right, let's see. Maddie sent in his profits. So let's see what he got over here. Maddie locked in. Nice. He said he took the reversal in confluence with the 10-minute V3. Total profit of 880 right here. And then his other account over here as well, 790. Guys, I'm lying. I took a trade too. I also followed into it. Let me just show you guys what I took. I'm not going to count this trade, obviously, but I try to keep, yeah, Maddie's, I also took a buy here. So let me show you guys what I took. I made a profit too. I try to stay quiet about it, but I did FOMO into a move as well. It's just, I mean, the buys here just look so good, so I was taking them. But this trade's not going to count, obviously, to anything, because it was just I entered this when price came back up over here off the 3. So if you guys remember earlier, we were looking at this trade right here, and I was like, okay, if price comes back up, I'm going to enter it for a quick push. I just entered it, and then I let it hit my TP as I moved stop loss and profit. So I know some people are going to get pissed that I took a trade without telling you guys, but sometimes you just take trades off your instinct. But I'll show you guys what I did too. This is why I'm kind of tempted to just pull out, or not pull out, but be done with trading for today, because even myself, I FOMO'd into a move as well. Here, I'll show you guys what I locked in. It wasn't much though. It was a small profit, just like yesterday. I just entered it with the trailing stop, like a really tight trailing stop. So let me show you guys right here. So it doesn't, like, I can tell you guys as much about discipline as about not FOMOing into trades, but even myself, I still FOMO into trades and I still have like lose discipline too. But here's the quick profit that I made off that. So you guys can see the timestamp right here at 1720 or 724. Let me go back to that 3-minute. 724 is right here. It was literally where that entry happened. Right? 724 right there. You can see the timestamp. This is where I entered this trade here because we had this marked up. I was telling you guys, like, okay, this is probably, and this is what I was trying to explain to you guys. I was like, okay, if we can probably figure out a way to apply the strategy here off the daily. When price came back up, I entered right there. I just entered, price pushed up, moved my stop loss and profit. As it pulled down, it just pulled me out in profit. So that's the trade that I took there. If you guys are wondering, I did FOMO into that move. Try to keep a straight face and stay quiet about it, but you guys can see right there. This isn't an account towards anything though. This is just my personal trade that I took. So this is my main account. I got 590. Here's my FTML copier, made 490. Here's my MFF counts, made 450 across all these here. And that's the entry that I took, if you guys are curious. So you guys can see, it doesn't matter how long you've been trading. I've been trading for like 11 years now. I still have bad trade psychology, right? I still FOMO into trades. I still make the same mistakes you guys do. It's just, I'm just better at making better decisions when to make those mistakes. This here just looked like a good trade because it aligned with the 10-minute and it aligned with the 1-minute because price was pushing up during there. We had if you guys remember earlier, there was a liquidity area right here. I forgot where it was. It was like right here, I think. There was an area of liquidity. Yeah, actually it was right there. So this high and this high, there was this area of liquidity. This lined up with confluence. This here lined up with the late entry, and this was a confluence as well in the 10. So with all those confluences, I was like, okay, I'm going to FOMO into this trade, but I'm only going to go in for a quick push. Had a tight trailing stop. As soon as it pulled back, it stopped me out in profit. And then I locked in, 590. This is technically only like 50 pips or 60 pips around there. So just quick little push. But yeah, I mean, you never really, your trade psychology is never going to be 100%. You're always going to still want to FOMO into trades. You're always still going to want to take risky moves. You just get better at controlling it. So those are my profits right there. Looking at Rashida here too. So Rashida as well, she said FOMO got the best of her. She scalped her way through it. So same thing happened with Rashida here. It looks like she took the same trade I took actually. Yeah, my trade was here at 724 and Rashida actually did the same thing I did. 724, same trade. So Rashida locked me a total profit of 373. So looks like a lot of you guys here actually did the same thing. Patricia here as well. Nice work, Patricia. She said, being careful, small scalps today. So she locked in a total profit of 1,052. So nice work right there, Patricia. Other than that, let me see if there's any other profits here. Nelly over here, nice work, Nelly. And Nelly locked in a total profit of 7,383 for the day. Nice work, Nelly. And Patrick over here as well. He said, gonna quit while I'm ahead today. He's up 6,866. Nice work, Patrick. But yeah, you guys are doing pretty good. I mean, it looks like a lot of you guys here are still taking trades off analysis and whatnot. So that's good. Just make sure that you guys are doing it properly. Ross over here as well, locked in a total profit of 4,490. Nice work right here, Patrick. Looks like you kind of entered into this trade here close to mine at 727. Pretty much all wins except for this one loss here. Looks like you took this during London session. Or actually, this is Asia session. So you took this in Asia. So it's all good. It happens, but you did come out with nice positive equity for the day. Patricia over here, she said a little more and done. So Patricia took a couple more scalps, locked in a total profit of 1,532. Nice work, Patricia. So if you guys have profits that you guys want to post and be showcased on the postings later, just post your profits in any of the groups or send them to me privately, and I'll add you guys to the list of profits for the day. But I mean, yeah, it's not a really good time to trade. There's no direction. There's really no bias, so you don't really know which direction to actually trade in. You're kind of just trading both ways. B said done for the day. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Sean. Definitely B. We'll see you tomorrow morning. MJ said, LOL, took the same trade for the same 60. Stop me on profit. Nice work, MJ. So it looks like a lot of you guys here were actually listening to my analysis here about entering it late. You guys actually entered it same time as me, even though I didn't tell you guys to enter it. I mean, it was a good thing that I told you guys that I didn't tell you guys, because if you guys got greedy and didn't trail your stop, you would have gone stopped out here because price came right back down. So this would have been the move here for 300 pips, right? So, or I think, so there was a couple different ways to apply this. The way that John applies it, sometimes he said this has a higher win rate. If you use 30-50, John here had an 87.6% win rate. So this right here would have been still running. If you had it for a 30-30, it would have been stopped out. So yeah, I'm still not convinced that this strategy is very consistent yet. Once I do, then maybe I'll introduce it to you guys that way. You know, there's always room for improvement for all of our strategies. Our current strategies have a high win rate already, but you know, they can always be improved and they can always get better. It's just going to be a matter of which member has the next idea. I mean, that's what's good about this community. We're all kind of here helping each other. Whenever someone finds something that works or that applies very well, you know, we share with each other so that we can all profit off that same type of analysis. So, all right, other than that, guys, it's about to be 8 o'clock. If you guys need to trade, I'd be super careful. Just keep in mind that Biden is speaking right here at 8:30. And then we have the Fed over here speaking at 11. So I'll probably be watching from a distance. I'm obviously not going to take any trades, but I'm going to watch from a distance and see how crazy the market moves. But other than that, I think I'm pretty much done for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me or message me on Telegram. Otherwise, we'll be back here tomorrow morning, same place, same time, to hopefully get a breakout and continue on with our I guess one trade a day experiment, applying the breakout only, and maybe a little FOMO trade like this, like I did today. But I think that's about it, guys. So if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I think that's about it. I don't have any messages here to look at. So all right, guys, see you guys tomorrow. And if you guys want to trade, just be really careful. Otherwise, I think you guys should just sit out till tomorrow. Let me check the news real quick to see if there's anything else here. Tomorrow we have advanced GDP at 5:30. And we got Yellen speaking tomorrow. So if you guys remember Yellen, be prepared for the market to dump. So I think today market will probably dump a little bit, and then during Asia and London, price will push up. And I think tomorrow when Yellen speaks, expect another drop, because Yellen over here, she goes heavy on like regulation. So with us going into a recession and interest rates going up, Treasury Secretary Yellen is probably going to cause price to dump back down. So, all right, guys, other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. And if you guys have questions, always feel free to